1947, Joe Persh, age 17, having survived the carnage of World War II in his native Yugoslavia, came to America unable to speak English with $2.73 in his pocket. His first job was as a window washer on a Detroit skyscraper. Later, he started his own window washing business. Completing his education, he became a pilot, a Navy flight surgeon, and a psychiatrist. He has, since 1962, been involved in the treatment and rehabilitation of thousands of individuals addicted to alcohol, drugs, or addictive behaviors. He has authored a best-selling book, Dear Doc, and since 1980 has written a weekly column on behavioral medicine. For his life's work in aviation, psychiatry, and addiction, he received the Distinguished Service Medal from the President of the United States.
As a psychiatrist, I can tell you that we all have character traits, which we have to work on every day in order to stay emotionally healthy. But if you are a troubled person, say an addict or a codependent, or someone who has chronic problems with the law, on the job, or in relationships, then you probably have character defects, which have to be repaired, not just worked on, because they prevent you from taking the best road on life's journey. In fact, they repeatedly cause things like relapse, school failure, impaired job performance, divorces, bankruptcies, dishonorable discharges, and even return trips to the penitentiary. Here is where we can start to sort things out. This is a lineup of the major types of character or personality disorders. I think of it as America's least wanted. To make our point, we're going to overdraw and exaggerate these characters. And we're going to do it with a touch of humor at times. Still, we can all find ourselves or parts of ourselves here, because these characters can be found on Wall Street and on Main Street, in the Pentagon and the penitentiary. Clinically, what they have in common is that they're also selfish and dishonest, even if they're clergymen or congressmen. Well, especially if they're congressmen. Now, we all have some of these traits, but if you have too many, you'll be diagnosed as a personality disorder who is unable to function.
That's Bobby the baby. He's 20, going on 12. He looks grown up, but he acts like a child. In my office, he stands hunched over and looks helpless.
Please sit down, Robert.
Where? And call me Bobby.
Here, sit down here. In case we're not getting it, here is Bobby's message to the world. I'm inadequate. I need your help to make it through the day with my homework, with my laundry, with my meals, to balance my checkbook, and so on. Often, Bobby is the youngest child. His angry stepfather tolerated him, and his guilt-ridden mother spoiled him.
And now the college wants to get rid of him because he's behind in his work, keeps losing his books and his notes, and is failing 5 subjects.
Oh, you're tied.
Not surprisingly, his mom is glad to take him back. Actually, she likes having him home. She'd rather be a mother to Bobby than a wife to her husband. Probably because she is what is known as a controlling codependent. So, she gets him a job in the family business where he impersonates an employee, draws a salary, and joins the great American workforce. The result? Mama is happy, Daddy is angry, and Bobby is still a baby. There has been no change.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Being a student is actually a job. Well, being a soldier is also a job.
Grace.
That's why the passive-aggressive GI is a soldier with job performance problems.
Birch.
Your name is?
Jones.
Here's a case. I'm a Navy psychiatrist. My 10 o'clock appointment, Seaman Jones, is late. Since I am an obsessive-compulsive psychiatrist, this bothers me. Actually, I'm a type A personality. You know what's wrong with type A's? Type B's.
Where is my 10 o'clock patient?
This is your 1000, Doctor.
This is Jones. Jones, I'm Captain Persh. I believe we had an appointment. I notice you're not wearing a belt.
Oh, they're all out, sir.
The store, they're out of them. Okay, well, let's go on in my office. We're late. Let's do the best we can with what time there is left. Jones, that is my chair. The patient sits in this chair. I work best that way, okay?
Hey, Doc. We all got our hang-ups.
Well, sit down.
So, Joe, tell me, you really been to all these schools and done all these things?
Seaman Jones, I'm Captain Persh, please. And yes, I've been to all these places. I have done all those things.
Hard to believe based on what I've seen so far. Just kidding, sir.
You know, until 5 minutes ago, I'd never met this man. And now I feel an intense hatred for him.
Hey, Doc. This is nothing. I drive my chief nuts. My stepdaddy, I can make his ulcers bleed.
Well, that's the passive-aggressive for you. He'll drive you up the wall. And he knows it. What's this man doing to me? Why, in just 5 minutes, he passively aggressed all over me several times. He was late. He put the moves on my secretary. He ignored my handshake. He beat me into my office. He sat in my chair. He called me Joe, and then he called me a quack. No wonder I don't like him. He doesn't play fair. His superiors don't like him either. That's why they referred him to me. Clinically, his problem is that when he gets under stress, he frustrates the people around him with covert hostility, sneaky insults, and calculated inefficiency. He did that to his parents, and he did it to his teachers, and he did it to his shipmates, and now he's doing it to me. And he'll be doing it to you after he's been kicked out of the Navy and is working for you. Or is married to your daughter. Or, worst case, working for you and married to your daughter. The Hysteric is a tragic soap opera. Stereotypically a female, she fascinates and frustrates everybody with her provocative behavior. The world is her stage where she over-dramatizes. She is either a victim or a princess. She makes instant friendships that go bad in a week. She turns minor office problems into major tantrums. The narcissist, the male counterpart, seems empathic and sensitive, but is actually in love with himself. He expects to be seen as special. Thin-skinned, color-coordinated, and self-absorbed, he too sees the world as his stage. He doesn't want to work, but he wants the benefits. The schizoid is a painfully shy loner. His hobbies are stamp collecting and writing poetry. He daydreams a lot. He has trouble dating, marrying, and working with others. He functions only on solitary jobs.
In therapy, he hides behind non-committal answers. For example, if I ask him, "How are you doing with your fitness program?"
I'm holding my own.
"How are you getting along with the people in your apartment building?"
I'm holding my own.
All right. Tell me, how is your sex life?
I'm...
His boss has trouble assigning him jobs because his fellow workers feel he is weird. The obsessive-compulsive, on the other hand, seems so perfect she makes you feel weird. Actually, she's too good for her own good. Too punctual, precise, clean, proper, conscientious, too everything. She works her fingers to the bone. Often she suffers from migraines, high blood pressure, and ulcers. As her supervisor, you watch helplessly as she grinds herself up and has to go on disability with depression. The sociopath is usually a male, but more and more females use this defense. He is an irresponsible charmer who seems without a conscience. His middle name is Con. He even cheats at solitaire. Often he lands in jail because he writes bum checks to cover his gambling debts.
Obviously, we have exaggerated these characteristics in order to highlight their defects. Even so, have I perchance mentioned some of your characteristics? If I haven't, you really need help. As I said, we all have some flaws, but let's see what kind of defenses they use to handle life's problems. For example, do these people ever drink or do drugs? Hey, if your life is like this and you don't, you're probably nuts. Here is how booze or drugs help for a while. Bobby drinks so he can be a man, but soon he's a drunken baby who sobs in his beer. The passive-aggressive uses to sedate his resentments, but drugs change him from passive-aggressive to angry assaultive, and he lands in a hospital or in jail for assault, spouse abuse, or child abuse. The shy schizoid takes speed to help him join in the fun, but he makes a fool of himself, wrecks his car, and lands in jail, or he hears voices and ends up in a psychiatric hospital. The compulsive takes downers or uppers to make other people tolerable, but she ends up a depressed workaholic who becomes an embezzler, a gambler, or lonely enough to kidnap a momentarily unattended infant. The hysteric drinks champagne for the excitement. The narcissist loves wine to look sophisticated. The sociopath uses alcohol as a tool. He'll buy the hysteric a drink. By midnight, they're intimate. But the next morning, he can't remember, and she can't forget.
Do they get depressed? Sure. They even become suicidal. Bobby writes a suicide note to his mother, with copies to his father. "I can't take it no more. On Friday afternoon, I'm gonna take an overdose of 2 aspirins, and I don't want anybody to disturb me at 42 East Maple Street, apartment 4.
The passive-aggressive cuts his wrists with an electric razor, or he jumps out the window from the 1st floor, then sues for workers' comp because he sprained his ankle. The schizoid gets depressed because people always want to shake hands and hug and have a relationship. The compulsive is weary because people never do things right, and she has to do everything herself. The hysteric and the narcissist, they get depressed because lovers keep breaking their hearts. When suicidal, they make long telephone calls for second and third opinions. The hysteric might even sue for sexual harassment, although these days the narcissist may well be the to it. The sociopath seldom thinks of suicide. He drives others to suicide. Though we are making light of it here, as a psychiatrist, I can tell you that these are tough calls to make, because sometimes they mean it, especially the schizoid and the compulsive, because they find life intolerable with nowhere to turn except to relapse or suicide. As their problems get bigger, they fall by the wayside of life. The lucky ones get into substance abuse or jail. Did I say lucky? Yes, because then somebody might do an intervention on them and get them into 12-step work or treatment groups. The problem is that troubled people usually don't want help or treatment. They just want to get the judge off their backs, or the boss, or the wife, or even the ex-wife. So they fall back on their old defenses. Now they use them to avoid being honest with the group and the therapist. Why? Because they're afraid to change.
This is a rehabilitation center. We will now see what our friends will do to avoid change.
Hi,
Hello. May I have your name?
I'm Bobby.
I mean your real name.
It's Bobby.
Your last name.
It's Jordan.
Oh, yes, here we are. Robert Jordan.
Yes, I'm Bobby.
Welcome to our hospital, Bobby. You're in group number 2.
Oh. Where is that?
It's down the hallway, first door to the right.
Oh. Can somebody take me?
Come on.
This group is only an hour. Boy, I got a lot to tell you. I had a really rough flight coming down here. Oh, please, can you call my mom? She's gonna want to know how I'm doing. Oh, and our preacher...
So,
he's gonna be
instead
calling
of being a mama's
my best
baby,
friend Sherry. She
Bobby is
wants
now
to
the
make sure
group's
that I got
baby.
her okay. And my mom's brother...
Can I help you?
I doubt it.
Well, sir, what is your name?
Oh, I thought you were supposed to know everything. It's Jones.
Oh, yes, Rick Jones.
Well, at least you can read.
Well, sir, you're in group number 1.
Yeah? Where's that? If you know, that is.
Down the hall, first door to your left.
Thanks.
No, to your left, sir.
He turned right instead of left. Why? Because under stress, his defense is to screw things up deliberately, for the same reason that immatures whine and schizoids withdraw. It makes them feel better for a while. But on the road of life, it's still the wrong direction.
So now, instead of bugging his family,
What the hell?
he's bugging the group.
I don't belong here. I can play your silly damn game for as long as I have to.
Let's have a quick look at how the others avoid change. The obsessive walks in 10 minutes early, straightens the pictures, and cleans the chalkboard. The hysteric always comes in late. Her blouse is half unbuttoned, and she keeps tugging at her short skirt. When one of the guys finally looks at her knees, she says,
All men are pigs.
Meanwhile, the male narcissist also comes in late. His designer shirt is buttoned all the way up to his navel. The schizoid picks a chair way out of the circle, and when the therapist says,
Can you scoot your chair up a little bit?
he moves the chair up an inch.
Come on a little more. Join the group.
He moves it another inch.
Oh, well. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
All right. About 27.
Eventually, everyone is practically falling out of their chairs, suckered into a codependent mode. But soon enough, they'll leave him alone, and he wins. Or does he? This is our sociopath, a man with a string of marriages and no divorces.
Hello, I'm Buster, and if you ain't the prettiest thing I ever did see.
Oh, my goodness. Would that be Mr. Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dear man, you're in group number 2.
Well, you know, it would be an honor if you escorted me.
Oh, well, all right.
Yes, Slick Buster really knows how to make a woman feel like a woman. And in group, he'll use that same talent to immediately try and destroy the group process. Also, you'll see him starting to pave the way to get out of treatment as soon as possible.
He knows instantly what's going on. He reads clues and probabilities with a streetwise eye.
Are you the group leader? Where did you go to medical school?
Well, I'm not an MD, but I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Oh, hold it. Is this how they run this place? I mean, how can we learn anything from a drunk?
And if a doctor is running the group, hello, I'm Dr. Persh, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm gonna run the afternoon group today.
Hold it. Is this how they run this place? And wasting valuable MD time when any drunk would do? Let's make him the group leader.
And the immature thinks,
Oh, good. Then I'll have 2 leaders.
and the schizoid thinks,
I hope they argue all day and I won't have to say anything.
the hysteric bats her eyes, the narcissist glares, and Bobby giggles, Rick grins, and the therapist... An hour later, Buster is nowhere to be found. He was last seen driving away with a female patient in her convertible after borrowing $600 from the hospital's administrator.
A month later, Buster is in jail for a junk bond scheme. Or he's on national TV holding a press conference. Yes, he's the campaign manager for a Vietnam vet buddy of his who is running for Congress. But 6 months after that, Buster is in jail for embezzling campaign funds.
Is there life after rehab? Of course. That's what treatment is all about. For many, this means becoming involved in an ongoing recovery program, such as Alcoholics Anonymous. But even in 12-step meetings, they keep using their character armor to avoid change. The hysteric makes a grand entrance. She does shallow breathing because her sweater is too tight. She can't understand why she always ends up sitting between 2 guys who tell nasty jokes. When Buster sees the hysteric prancing by, he offers to be her sponsor. Bobby is looking for his 4th sponsor. His favorite step is turning it over to anybody. The passive-aggressive walks in late, looks bored, and laughs in the wrong places. His favorite step is to make amends, provided it'll cause harm to others. The compulsive thinks that this AA thing has possibilities, but the seating needs to be controlled. There is dust on the coffee pot, and the big book needs a rewrite. The schizoid is in the same Narcotics Anonymous group for 7 years, and nobody knows him. The narcissist always stands up, leaning against the wall and bulging his steroid muscles. While posing, he intentionally sets off his beeper. Here's the problem. As long as these people can use their defenses, they get nothing out of the meeting because they're not in the meeting. Result? They don't change.
Clearly, these character defenses don't work. Why then do we use them? Because we think we need them, that without them, we couldn't handle life. Unfortunately, character defects work much like alcohol or drugs work for addicts. Eventually, they work against us instead of for us.
Good 12-step sponsors are invaluable in the process of change. To challenge their defenses, sponsors tell the immature to drive the compulsive to the meeting. They may not get there, but it'll bring out the particular defects that they have to work on. Good sponsors will also tell the fresh-caught hysteric and narcissist not to be 12-stepping too soon, because until they've undergone some personal growth, they'll only be thinking about what to wear. Also, good sponsors don't let the hysteric and the sociopath do the welcomes at the door, because she'll hug people to death while he hits them up for a loan. Instead, a good sponsor will firmly encourage the schizoid and the compulsive to do the welcomes. They may not like it, but if they follow the guidelines, they'll gradually change for the better.
What can we do about it? Well, I don't have all the answers. But here is a suggestion. Tell people like your family, your sponsor, your therapist, your boss. Tell them something like this. Whenever I start doing my character defect stuff, call me on it so I can face it. I want to change. I've been doing this stuff so long, I don't even know when I'm doing it. So help me notice and help me change.
Now, when you tell your group that you want to confront your behavior because you want to change, you may get a mixed reaction. Why? Because, initially at least, most of your group members will want to hang on to their character pathology rather than to go through the pain of change.
This is going to be a really good group. One of our members wants to work on change.
Can I say something? I need to talk now.
Oh my God, you got coffee all over my dress.
Yeah, and you got your nylons, too. Let me wipe them down.
What a mess. I'm gonna get a rag and clean this up.
Hold it, sit down, hold it. Everybody, let's get some perspective on that. The cup was almost empty anyway. Now, could it be that one of our members has said they want to do some serious work, and that's what's going on here?
It'll take many sessions before the immature becomes self-reliant. The passive-aggressive handles his anger appropriately. The schizoid, hysteric, and narcissist start doing more and feeling less. The compulsive starts feeling more and thinking less. And the sociopath finally works in the system instead of trying to beat the system. It'll take time. Progress instead of perfection is the goal.
The good news is that if you work hard and change, you'll find that you can be a responsible, successful human being. What I call weller than well. At this point, it would be nice to say good luck, but more than a matter of luck. The road of life is really a program of action. Never mind how you feel, what you think, or what happened to you back down the road back then. We've all had some setbacks. The point is, you change your life by starting to change your behavior. And that takes daily practice. So let's practice and work on these steps and defects. Practice won't make us perfect, but it'll make us better. One of my favorite sayings comes from Gary Player, the professional golfer who said, "The more I practice, the luckier I get."
For those of you in 12-step programs who may be reluctant to seek outside help, I quote from page 133 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. God has abundantly supplied this world with fine doctors, psychologists, and practitioners of various kinds. Do not hesitate to take your problems to such persons. Their services are often indispensable in treating a newcomer and in following his case afterwards. As a psychiatrist, let me tell you, it's okay to get help.